we're here to talk about partnership marketing. And, when I think of partnership marketing, I own an agency, I think of like B2B, right? Referral partners, those types of opportunities. If we're looking at partnership marketing for B2C, if I'm a CMO that's, trying to figure out if this is for me, I guess from a very high level, what does partnership marketing look like for e-commerce?
Well, it is B2B. You are partnering with a business, and you are going to connect with that other business's customers. And because it's a partnership, obviously, you're going to let that other company contact your customers as well.
Yeah. And, that's a thought that I have is, companies are fighting for attention on social media. They're fighting for attention everywhere. What do you say if a business, before they even get started, is worried about, driving their customers elsewhere? Like, how do you deter from that thought? Or do you ever hear that thought when you're talking with prospective clients?
What that that someone might you're chasing the dollar, and that you might take some spend out of their pocket and have it go to your marketing partner.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, that is a thing. But on the other hand, when we're talking about partnership marketing, I think it's important that someone has a really, really good offer, and that it's framed as a special offer for those customers, and that they'll be pleased that you have selected a special offer. Let me give you an example. Say you're a wine company and you want to partner with someone who makes chocolates. Well, the chocolate company can do a really, really good offer, and the wine company can say to all of its customers, hey, look, we've negotiated this special deal with this chocolate company, and you can get this box of chocolate at 50% discount. So, that's sharing the love. And I don't think that would steal someone else's dollar from their pocket.
Very true. Very true. So, if we're a CMO that's looking to get started with partnership marketing, what do I need to do to build out this piece of the business? Like, where do I need to look? Do we need staff? Do we need obviously we need a partner. How do we find what industry to go towards, or what type of product? Where do we start?
It's slightly different than marketing on the internet, or Facebook or Instagram, something like that. Right, you're not actually looking for people who are a particular age, particular gender, with particular location. You're really trying to find someone who's got a special interest, who's got interest. And I'll give you an example again. We have a company who do a dog treat box on subscription, and every month you will get a dog treat and you'll get a dog toy. Now, they partnered with a high-end wine company on the basis that if you're buying decent wine, more than likely you've got a dog sitting on the couch behind you when you're sipping your wine. And that's the sort of interest that both parties have got. And conversely, if you're willing to spend a few dollars on your dog, you're probably willing to spend a few dollars on yourself and buy some decent wine.
Yeah. So, really you're saying to start out looking at finding a complementary business, right? Finding something that goes along. So finding complementary businesses, right? Similar interest. And then from there, right? How do you decide, and obviously you're going to need to communicate with the partner, but how do you decide what channel to go about, right? You're looking at online, you're looking at offline and parcel mail. Like what general strategy do you go about that way?
Well, there's several things you can do. You can swap parcel inserts in each other's going parcels. You could do offers on each other's e-shots. If you do a newsletter every month, you can put a little piece on the bottom of that e-shot and say, hey, look at this special offer from our partner. It's a really special exclusive offer. You can do that. You can swap that with each other. On the order confirmation pages, you can do the same sort of thing.
That's true.
And you could also, do guest blogging, guest podcasting, joint webinars. If, say, for instance, you are a chocolate company and you partner with a wine company, you could do a joint webinar on pairing chocolate with wine.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a meat company and you partner with someone who does carving knives, you could do a joint webinar on cutting up meat. So that's the sort of thing you can do. Also, I always suggest that people have a partners page on their website of partners that they've got, and you can put them on there, and that'll help both of your SEO. And then you can form a little social media pod so that you can tell your partners when you've done a post on Facebook, Instagram, etc., and they will dive in, give it a like, give it a comment, and maybe even share it. But so the other sort of thing you can do is you can do co-created offers. So go back to the wine company, you could say, hey, look, buy this box of wine, and we're going to throw in a special box of chocolates from our chocolate partner, free of charge, and it's not going to cost you anything. That's a co-created offer. Or again, you could do a sample swap. If you were the chocolate company, you could put in a small, selection of your chocolates, a little tiny bar, something like that. Or the other thing that is really good is you could do a competition. So say, for instance, again, with the wine company and the chocolate company, the wine company could give the chocolate company a case of wine and say to the chocolate company, have a competition. All you've got to do is to give us all the email addresses for people that enter that competition. And that's a quick, easy, inexpensive way of getting some email addresses.
Yeah, and it sounds like the one that I'm most familiar with kind of combines a couple of those, because what I've seen frequently with e-commerce companies is like an Instagram competition where you go like these 3 pages and then you tag 2 friends in the post, and then you'll get like a combined giveaway of each company's product or product and services. That way they're all complementary. Yeah. Have you seen, have you worked with any companies that do that or have done that? Have you seen good results with it?
I've seen a few companies, and it does work. Doing that sort of, it builds up the traffic.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm curious, I want to derail to the offline in a second, but I had a thought and I'm curious. I imagine when you're doing that type of Instagram competition, right, you're really trading user data. Like you're getting followers, you're getting traffic to your website, you're getting email lists that way.
Yes.
As you're looking at different forms of co-partnerships like InMail and things like that, and sometimes they have QR code offers, is there a sort of like legal agreement or anything to where, there's a referral kickback or some sort of payment to be in someone's, shipment box, or what does that look like? Or is it really just kind of handshake type agreement?
Well, I believe it's more of a handshake type agreement. I mean, yes, you could come up with some sort of formal agreement if you wanted. But at the end of the day, whatever agreement you've got, even on paper, is an element of trust in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always curious because like when you move homes and you call Duke Power, which is the power provider where I live, when you're done with your call, they go through like 5 different offers on cheaper internet from a partner and like all these different things. So I've always wondered if they're getting money off of that or, what that type of partnership is like.
Well, in this instance, you are doing it on the basis that you're going to get new customers. And like any marketing, you need to keep some KPIs on it.
Yeah.
And track, where are your new customers coming from? I know it's very fuzzy and gray. You might have an insert in someone's parcel and they'll have a look at it and then they'll go to another platform and see your business there and click on it because they know it. They've seen it already in the box. But if you've got a very strong offer, talking about inserts, if you've got a very strong offer and you put a QR code on there, and have a specific landing page reiterating that offer, you've got a good way of tracking it.
And, to me, I think that's the most fascinating opportunity, mainly because I feel like I'm just speaking from my experience, and there's millions of e-commerce companies out there, so I'm not speaking for all of them, but generally it seems like a lot of e-commerce businesses focus mainly on new customer acquisition, paid media, Google ads, those types of things. And, understand email SMS marketing is important, but don't put as much prioritization on optimizing that. So we're kind of looking down funnel. And then when it comes to packaging in the box and, things that are happening for user experience and lifetime value there, I just see it kind of keeps that trend of diminishing focus as you go down the funnel. So that part, the parcel in mail is really the biggest curiosity for me to hear from you, because I feel like that's an area that a lot of businesses, e-commerce businesses, could improve on, right? And we're talking about partnership, and I imagine there's a piece of lifetime value with that. But, if you're looking to do a parcel partnership, you want to be in someone else's box, right? Someone else's shipment.
Yeah.
Let's talk about everything needed there. I mean, you say you need a good offer. What does a good offer look like for a business that way?
What does a good offer look like? There are straight line offers like dollars off or percents off. Or there are more, I much prefer a fuzzy offer, where if you're a coffee company and you offer a bag of coffee and with 50% extra or 30% extra, that's a fuzzy offer that someone will find difficult to compare with a competitor. My absolute favorite that I have used time and again, it works really well. I used to buy pallets of discontinued stock from my suppliers. I would put it in my catalog at a reasonable RRP, and then I'd give them away for nothing. And that was a really good offer that worked well. But I'd also say a lot of e-commerce businesses don't put their own flyers in their own boxes.
Yeah,
which surprises me. I'd always stick a catalog in my outgoing parcels, and I have just bought something from an internet-based company. I bought some seeds from my garden, and they're already at me. They've already given me 10% off my next order, providing I put an order in with them in the next 10 days. And I'm sure if I do, I will then get another offer, because once you get someone to buy from you, if you can get them to buy from you at least 3 times in a row in a short space of time, you've got a sticky customer that won't go anywhere else.
Yeah, and you hear the exceptional stories, like Apple spends all this time and research on the suction of when the box opens up, so you can have great user experience in the unpacking and stuff like that, right? But I mean, I feel like with the parcel situation or the in-mail for the parcel, I feel like that's a big piece of it, right? Is having, things like brand story, things like offers, like you're saying with that can help improve the overall purchase experience as well.
Yeah. Well, what I do suggest to people is that if they are going to do in-mail or inserts, is to have an envelope in the box, and maybe on the outside of the envelope, you put on there, we've got some special exclusive offers for our new customers. And that will help those inserts to get some more traffic, but it also helps the sender frame, why they're sending out these flyers.
Yeah, and I think one interesting use case for it as well, especially for like the health industry or the health product industry, is using in-mail materials to help educate the user on the product or the usage of the product as well in their daily routine. I've seen that before, and I think that can also be very helpful to increase lifetime value, because people understand how to use the product, and then they're taking advantage of it better.
Yes. I think that you're quite right. Having some instructions there, even if it's a simple product to operate, having some other information in there about the product does help to make people feel warmer when they're opening the parcel up.
Yeah, and I know you said, you want to make sure you have a good offer, right? If you're going to be in somebody else's mail or somebody else's shipment, we'll say.
Yeah.
And you shared your favorite type of offer. Anything else in specific for success with, partnerships through mail that you would say you would recommend from your experience?
Well, what I would say is that think about the lifetime value when you're thinking of what to offer and how much you're going to spend on it. Think about the lifetime value of the customer. You may not make money on the offer, on the initial first offer, but the important thing is getting the new customer, knowing what your lifetime value is, and getting that back over the next months, years, however long it takes.
And that brings up a good question. Who pays for it, right? Does each company pay for their own printouts, or like how does that cost go to the...
Yeah. If you're swapping, generally it's free because all you've got to pay for is the printing of your flyers. If you're swapping 10,000 flyers with another company, it's just a straight swap. All you've got to pay for is the printing of your flyers.
Okay. So yeah, you print it, you ship it to them, and then they put it in their packages that way.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So we looked at, in parcel mail, right? Opportunity for partnership send outs. What other channels do you feel like are the top performers for this?
Other channels in respect of,
so we talked about Instagram a little bit, parcel, there's things like blog, like what are the top channels you generally recommend people, avenues people take?
Well, I would certainly say newsletters and order confirmation pages. That's when you've got them, a good chance getting new customers.
Yeah. And, that's another area that I think doesn't get enough attention is the order confirmation page, or just, the user experience after the purchase immediately happens, right? I know there's some Shopify apps out there that focus on turning your shipping page into a potential product page so that you can get upsells or cross sells there, right? Yeah. And I think there's a lot of opportunity that way. So, let's talk through logistics of business types. Like, do you feel like there's any business types that don't fit this, or do you feel like businesses just don't understand the value? Because I don't see a lot of, clothing and apparel companies or different things like that, running this, or maybe I'm just oblivious to it. So, what industries do you think have the highest opportunity, or do you think this is agnostic to industry?
I haven't come across that many businesses that wouldn't make good swap partners. I would say, not from experience, but from my own fears, that companies who sell one-off items or high-value items, it's a little bit difficult to swap in that instance. I was talking to a company who sells snooker tables, jukeboxes, and that sort of thing, and a massive turnover, but very low number of orders going out the door, and it's possibly not going to be a great fit. Although, having said that, you wouldn't get a chocolate person swapping with someone who's selling snooker tables or billiard tables, but you might get a high-end furniture company selling sofas that might swap with them.
Yeah. And, that brings up a great point of, making sure you're getting partners that have high send out, or not high send out, but enough traffic, right, to bring opportunity. When is a business ready or not ready for something like this? Because I see a lot of smaller businesses really focusing on, quick new customer acquisition, things you can track, things like paid ads. When is this type of venture for marketing plausible for a business?
I think you could go down to a company who's sending out, I don't know, 50 orders a week. If they can find someone who also is sending out 50 orders a week, why not? Why not do it? It's a bit of a no-brainer, really, because all you've got to do is print a few hundred inserts and swap them. It's not going to
Mhm.
cost you anything apart from the printing.
Yeah, and I mean, hear me out here because I'm going to be drawing some strings, or I don't know the proper term, but it's kind of like PR or other areas where like it's kind of a brand building mindset of like long term growth. Like because you can't track it, I could see a lot of people have concern, or you can't always track it. A lot of people have concern of, is this going to bring me customers today or tomorrow? But this type of venture sounds like one that is a good long term growth opportunity for companies. Does that make sense the way I'm wording that?
Yeah, it is. It is trackable. I say to people, the number of flyers you print and send out is the number of impressions.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about the QR code. If people click on that QR code on their phone and they go to the page, that's the number of click-throughs you're going to get. And then obviously from that page, you can easily measure the amount of sales through it. So it is trackable in that sense.
Very true. Yeah, very true. So, I mean, 50 orders or more, right? Ready to get started. Most all industries are applicable to it. Making sure you find a complementary product.
Yes.
Any other key focus areas or takeaways you'd really communicate to a CMO or somebody getting started with partnership marketing for their business?
Well, I've done a chart on comparing in-mail inserts with online marketing, and I'll just quickly run through that because it's quite interesting. Once you set up your insert and you've got your offer ready and your QR code and all that sort of stuff, and got them printed and swapped, that's it. You don't have to do anything else. Whereas when you're doing online marketing, you know what it's like. Every Monday morning, you've got to go in, you've got to go and check the metrics, Google Analytics, and see what words are working, what isn't working, fiddle with it and adjust it. One of the other things about inserts is that in that box, there will not be a competitor. And you can assure that with the person that your marketing partner. Whereas online, you are constantly fighting competitors, trying to get over and above them in the pecking order. And when obviously your insert arrives in that box, you know that person is a guaranteed buyer. Whereas with online marketing, you haven't a clue whether the person looking at your advert is willing to spend money or not. Because with inserts, it's a fixed cost. Once you pay for your printing, that's it. It's a fixed cost. But I don't know about you, but I used to find with online marketing, I'd go in on a Monday morning and have to do all my analytics, but then I'd find, I spent more money on Facebook advertising than I really intended to. Somehow or other, those guys always suck a little bit of extra money out of you. And the other thing about inserts is that there's no limit to the size or the design that you put on there. Whereas with, say, like Google Shopping, for instance, you just got a little square space for your picture and so many characters to go underneath it. That's it. That's all the selling you can do. An insert, you can go mad. It's all freehand. You can design what you want. And of course, with it being in a box and a physical piece of paper, people can't just easily scroll past it. They will sit and look at it. But also the important thing I always think is that you will get the shared love with the marketing partner that you've been partnering up with. If they're a bigger, better, brighter brand, some of that love will come over to you. If that big company over there has trusted that little chocolate company to put a flower in my box, they must be good. You'll get that love.
Yeah, and I'm mainly on the digital marketing side. So as you were saying that, my thoughts started going of, you could even measure this with traditional digital marketing metrics. Like you look at your print cost, 1,000 printouts, that's your cost per 1,000 impressions, right? So whatever it's costing you to print out 1,000, and then you can measure, your click-through rate, if you're using a defined landing page where, there's only those people are going to that landing page. So let's say, 1 or 2%, 3% of those people go through, that's your click-through rate. And then you can measure your cost per click that way as well, right? So, I mean, all of those things traditional could translate that way. And then you could see your purchase conversion. And then, from running it that way, I believe you could definitely, I don't want to use the word deduce down, but you could figure out if this is a valuable or, cost-effective marketing channel. My next thought would be, though, is I would probably test this with a couple of different partners before giving up on, partnership marketing if the first round didn't work, right? I would imagine, testing out different product types or things like that. Have you ever seen that happen?
Oh, I'd always say to people, test and measure. Do an insert. I would print it out of my printer. I would go around my family, my friends, my neighbors, and just go and say, hey, look, what do you think of this? Would you buy that? Would you buy from this?
Mm-hmm.
And then, if you get the feedback and you make some changes, and then maybe I would make the changes, and then I'd send it to a few customers, say, what do you think of this? So you're testing it like that. And then finally, you maybe print, say your overall run's going to be 10,000. When I print a few thousand and swap it and swap those just to test it, and do A/B testing, and do 2 different offers.
Mm-hmm.
Or more.
Yeah. And I would say, like with the testing of the companies, I mean, you could even have the mindset of figuring out what is your true complementary product. Like, what is your signal indicator that someone probably needs or is ready to buy what you want, right? Like you say with the, one thing I've seen, because I've used, what's the company called? It's where you get the food packages in the box. Like they send you the recipe, they send you the raw food products. And then, generally those have like a $200 discount for wine or something like that, right? Because, wine and dinner, people are pairing those together.
Yes.
So the wine companies, assuming the signal indicator is that people are eating, right? People are looking to bring their meal in home. So I would say with most brands, you could figure out like, what is your signal indicator, purchase wise that way. Well, that would be good as well.
I guess you could actually survey some of your customers, send them a survey, say, what other interests have you got? You buy wine from us, what other interests have you got? Is it gardening? Is it meat? Is it food? Is it chocolate? Is it whatever? Just to sort of find out Poland to see what they would be most interested in.
And, Simon, every podcast recording I've done so far, we've talked about analytics, we've talked about paid media, different channels, right? We're talking about traditional parcel mail right now or in-mail flyers. Every conversation has touched on or talked about polling or interviewing customers, like having good communication with customers, right? So important.
Yeah.
Even for something like this, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's... In my own e-commerce business, I would serve every box that went out the door would have a little questionnaire in it with a return address on it, and it would ask all sorts of different questions about how the box arrived and things like that. The final question was, can we consider you a satisfied customer? Yes or no. It was binary, because I wanted to force people to make a choice. And, if they were sort of umming and ahhing, they would generally go to the yes box.
Yeah.
And that would reinforce in their own mind that they'd had a good experience and they will come back. And then if they tick the no box, well, you want to know about it, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, that actually segues good into our outro for this section of the recording. So generally I try to summarize what we talked about into 2 or 3 questions, just so we can have that, because the whole purpose of this podcast is to make sure we're educating listeners, right? So if you had to summarize everything we talked about into a marketing mindset, what mindset should marketers or business owners have if they're looking to implement partnership marketing in their business?
Well, I think it's very important that first of all, I think they should all have a marketing partner. Why wouldn't you have a marketing partner? But I would, and I would think in trying to find the marketing partner, I think it's important to understand your customers and what their interests are.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to the marketing when you go to a potential marketing partner, you could say, hey, look, I sell wine. I survey all my guys. They want food. They want dog care products. They want, and you can be specific about what they actually want.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily about what age bands are they, or what age band they are, or what gender they are, or where they live. It's more about what their interests are.
Very true. Very true. And for anyone listening that's in the stage of figuring out what they'd like to do in the marketing industry, right? They could be in college, graduating, changing their career. What role or roles would you say will be in the highest demand or have the highest opportunity in the next 3 to 5 years?
I think that this opportunity of marketing partner would be, obviously, I hope it's going to be a big thing in the next few years, and that people are doing degrees on it. But yeah, it beats sitting in front of a computer all day, looking at analytics, trying to squeeze the best out of the words you're using in SEO or in Google Ads or something like that. It's much more. It requires more. It's more interesting, I think.
Yeah, and tell us, where can listeners connect with you, learn more about you, your business?
Well, they can find me at Simon at myflyerinserts.com, and very happy to have a little chat with people, tell them more about it, go into depth with them, and see whether it's something that would work for them.
Awesome. And you're pretty active on LinkedIn as well, yeah?
Yeah. Or find me on LinkedIn, Simon Rigby.
Perfect. Simon, well, I appreciate you coming on the show today. It was a good conversation, and hopefully listeners can enjoy this opportunity and help grow their business that way. So thanks for coming on.
Well, that's great. Well, thanks very much, Colby, for asking me. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, of course.